Okay, now we've got the 3 runners done. So a new piece of a new disc in the on the sander. I'm gonna go ahead and knock these out. .16 by 48, I think's the original size. And this one right here, when I got done with it, it's 40 inches long, 12 inches wide. And in the bolt pattern, as we talked about, fits inside that right there, like that right there. I'm gonna put a little stain and a little varnish on this right here. When y'all see this again, it'll probably be on wheels. Remembering when we disassembled this engine, I had noticed that the fuel pump was loose, and come to find out, someone had replaced that shaft in that fuel pump with that 1/2 inch stud right there. That's a 1/2 13 thread on that, and that hole that's in that block there is supposed to be 7/16 7/16 something, and as you can see there, it's broke off. It appears to me that it has been drilled out to a 1/2 inch and then broken off, and then someone has tried to drill it out with a small drill. I guess they could not get it out, and this is the way I found it here. I think that probably well, actually it will not even get a thread. But you can see where the end there is a little bit smaller, where it would actually fit in there and have some degree of grip, I guess. The only thing was holding the fuel pump on there, and it was actually, the engine was actually running, was the fuel lines, and the cam mechanism was what was holding this fuel pump on. So I'm going to go ahead now and drill that out, get that little broken off piece out of there, see what the threads is, and then we'll deal with it from there. Easy out down in there. I took that there pipe, adjustable rings to it, and let's bring it out there and see what we got. Oh yeah, y'all see that? Actually drilled through it very well. I'll look down in there and see. And well, we can't see down in there. I'll clean that out and see what we got. Run that there bottom and tap down in there. That's a 7/16 14 right there. That's what we got out of there. And I put that bolt down in there, and what I did is I run that tap on down about a 1/2 inch more than what the factory was. Now what I'm going to do, you see I got plenty of threads in there, so I'm going to put that piece of tape right around there where it'll be even with them threads down there. I'll show you why. Get that up out of there. A good clean thread there, new bolt, whatever size fitting. And the reason that I threaded it a little bit deeper there, it's a little bit oversized there at the top, kind of egg shaped there where that 1/2 inch bolt was riding in there. So what I've done, and this here, that's the original factory bolt that's supposed to be in there, stud, fuel pump stud. Bushing goes on this right here, and if you put it right over there with that right there, and you bring it right up there. Let's get this other stuff out of the way here where there won't be no confusion. But if you that's how deep it'll go in there, and you see right yonder that this part right down here, that's about a 1/2 inch on it, so it's that much longer. I'll have to make up a new stud bolt there with the threads about a 1/2 inch longer. A few minutes. answer some comments. And you see right there, we looking at that gas tank thing. Let's go right up yonder. And if you remember when I took this gas tank off of this engine, it's got that there turnout right there, a siphon that is, with an adapter in there. And I kind of made a comment there just offhand that all them gas tanks was alike, and they're not. Thought I'd get a couple examples out here and show to you. And you see right there, that's the late model there with the big one that would have used this type siphon and vent tube. The early models did not have the vent tube on the side of the block. Hence, it had a different kind of gas tank in it. Now this adapter system works okay. You can use a late model tank in an older model engine. But if you've got a good old model tank, early model, and you have a newer type siphoning, then it won't fit in there. Just kind of clearing up comment there. And the comment was about these oiler drip tubes on a McCormick-Deering Type M International Harvester. IHC we're talking about. Now this that we're working on here is 1.5 horsepower, but the question was about these brass drip tube pipes into the cylinder. And I don't think they are original. I don't think this setup right here is original at all. The top piece right there has been turned in the lathe there. You know, took all the casting off of it. That's definitely not original. Just a fitting is what they used. They did have a special one now. And the oiler pipes themselves, I've taken a good many of these engines apart, a lot, and I have never found anything other than a regular old steel pipe in an original engine. Now I do find a lot of brass pipes in engines that someone has worked on recently, restored, you know what I mean, and put that in there. I'm just saying I'm gonna go out on a limb here and say that the original, if you restored an engine Type M, then you should have a unplated, no galvanize. It's a electrolysis nightmare to put galvanize on this engine. Now look it up. And next in line is this piston here. Not a comment. This is the piston out of this engine. And I'm including these comments in here because most of them was generated in this engine series. And one of them was this. One of them was that little brass stainless steel ball that was in that. It was in yonder in the down in that nipple right there on that cylinder sleeve. It was laying right down in there, if you remember. Okay. And one of the comments was it a attempt to defrog? No, it wasn't. I did go ahead and check that out, and I think what happened was the oiler that's on that engine is not a gas engine oiler. It's a regular machinery oiler. It does not have the don't have no check ball in the bottom down yonder. Ain't nothing. It's just hollow up in there, and someone had put that ball up in there, and then they had inserted that little flimsy star washer up in there to hold it. Well, it fell out, and then that was laying down in yonder, little Little ball right there. That's all that was. And another thing kind of to clear up, I guess, is these wide on that rod on that engine. This is the that's them lock nuts that goes on that bolt that goes in that rod cap right there. And normally this would go right up there like that. Castellated nut here and the cotter would go there. Okay, normally this nut right here would be half as thick as this one is. And the reason you put a thick one in there is when you take enough shims out of the rod cap, when the bearing is wore, when that babbitt bearing is wore to the point where you take a shim out, and then you do it again through the years, and when you take enough of them out that there's this keeps getting shorter, and then at some point when you put your cotter in there, it don't fit in one of them little notches right there. You know what I'm talking about? And that's with the half thickness. So what you do is you put in a thick one, and that way it brings this back out. It's like a double thin nut there, and it puts this nut, the locking nut, back out where when you put a cotter in there. And I've seen them to the point where they would have 3 of the thin ones in there to put this, space this out to where it's supposed to go. All configurations. I've seen it in there. Another question was about these cylinder sleeves and the corrosion on them. This cylinder sleeve is excessive. Now we're talking some deep pitted rust right there. You know, in anybody's book, that's some deep rust. Done been through the electrolysis tank, just bare metal. Okay, this is the one we took out of the engine, and it is, like I say, pristine condition on the outside. And this line right here in the center of that's a casting line. That's not a rust line. Just practically no erosion whatsoever on that from rust. And now you will find them with this rust, a straight line of this rust that will be somewhere, you know, somewhere else beside of that casting line as to where the owner kept the water level at. And the coating, see this right here, I would not put anything on this engine, on this to fill them up. Just I want the water to make contact with that. And these cylinders, some of them are quite thick. This one was. Some of them are quite thin. This one is just another bare cylinder that, I say bare, a cleaned cylinder that I painted a real light coat of some kind of light gray primer on there, just kind of for long-term storage. And you can see as cast condition. A little bit of rust pitting, very little. But we at some point in time we will use these.